Can intermittent fasting really help you lose weight? Yes, it can. But what is 16-8 intermittent fasting? Well, to put it simply, it is where you are fasting for 16 hours and have an 8-hour eating window. And how that works is when your eating window starts, which is 8 hours, that means you have a window of 8 hours where you can eat essentially whatever you want. But the goal is, especially if you're using it for weight loss, is to eat healthy food, and more specifically foods that are low in calorie, and avoiding things like junk food and processed foods, which tend to be higher up in calories. So if you do that properly, that is essentially how 16-8 works alongside every other fasting schedule. Now, how does it actually support the act of having your weight go down? And it's really simple, and a lot of people actually misunderstand. When you follow a fasting schedule, basically, you're giving yourself less time to make mistakes. So people don't normally eat for just 8 hours in a day. As a matter of fact, we're typically eating all day, which is a problem. So when you restrict it to a smaller window, the theory is it's supposed to give you less time to make mistakes. In other words, less time to overeat, because 8 hours to some people may not actually be enough time to eat, since we are so conditioned to eating all day. And the effect of that is even more emphasized, especially when you shorten the eating window even more. Like, for example, OMAD, 1 meal a day. So basically how that looks is 1 hour to eat and 20 hours of not eating. If someone were to follow that, typically you will lose weight because 1 hour is not enough time for one to eat. Hopefully the fasting ideology is starting to make sense. Now, what can you drink while fasting? It's this simple. Either water, which is obviously recommended, or anything that is 0 calories. If it has something above 0 calories, it's not that it's going to make you gain weight. It's really more of the fact that if you were to do that, you are no longer fasting. Plain and simple. So water or anything 0 calorie, like Diet Coke or something along those lines, black coffee, etc. So best foods to eat as well as foods to avoid. Well, there isn't really a such thing as best foods to eat, but basically just keep it healthy, use common sense, avoid processed as much as possible, including junk food, and just stick to whole foods. So now, what if you did all these steps in order and are following this sort of strategy every day? What about those times where you start to feel hungry? First of all, there's only so much you can do in terms of hunger. It's typically when your stomach starts growling, your first instinct should be to drink water, because being dehydrated actually does play a part in that growling noise your stomach makes. So drink water. And second, make sure you are eating your meals on time at the same time every day. Do not be inconsistent with when you have your meals, because if you do that, that creates irregularity. So you're not really creating sort of a meal timing routine for yourself, which is a problem. And just keep in mind, the more you do something, the more you get used to it. And that's what you want. So overall, even if you did everything perfectly in order to beat the hunger, in a sense, it is still somewhat inevitable. You will always have at least even a small moment where you feel hungry. Basically, what I'm saying is there's nothing you can really do about it. You kind of just have to get over it. But if you do follow the tips I said earlier, it will reduce that feeling of hunger by a large percentage. Now, what about exercise? I always do recommend that you implement exercise, and to implement exercise in a sense of simplicity. So basically, go for a walk. That's it. I won't mention any other routine that you can follow, like bodybuilding or high intensity cardio. None of that. Just keep it simple. Go for a walk, whether that's on a treadmill or at the park or from your bed to your fridge. It doesn't matter. Just go for a walk. The length of time doesn't necessarily matter. 5 minutes or 60 minutes. It doesn't matter as long as you implement it and do it every day consistently. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. Hopefully you guys learned something, and if you did, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, or if you didn't, still go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that said, I will see you guys next time.